Stop it.
I think you're good to go, Matt, whenever you're ready.
Okay, thanks, Kelsey. Okay, the time is 5:03, and I'm going to call the meeting of the Lorraine Port and Finance Authority Financial Planning and Audit Committee meeting to order. We'll start with roll call.
Matt Kuzner,
Here.
Steve Bancek,
Here.
Carl Nielsen,
Here.
Neil Summers. It's not here, so we have 3.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the disposition of meeting minutes for February 4th, 2020. I hope everyone has had a chance to review the minutes. And with that, if there are no questions, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made and properly second. We'll going to call for a roll call vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That passes. Report of the chairman, the 2021 budget work session. So I met with Yvonne to review the 2021 budget. I think the Port Authority staff did a good job of putting a really good budget together. And I'll let Yvonne take the floor and kind of go into more detail.
Tom, did you want to start off?
Yeah, I think that the staff got together last week, and I think what we did as a whole is looked at what our actuals were in 2020, just because things dramatically changed because of COVID. So some of the adjustments that we made or things that we encountered because of COVID, we kind of moved forward. So we were very, I want to say, conservative on some of our revenues. If things change, this is a living, breathing document. We'll come back to the board and adjust those revenues upward. But if you look at like recreational fees on page 1, you know, we were making $36,000 2 years ago. We made $600 last year. So we put it at $1,000 for this year just to see if we could get some boat rentals, but we don't have a lot of hope that we will. If that changes, then we can adjust those type of items up. We kind of kept expenses, you know, relatively the same for those things, with the exception being electric, we kept high, and the fact that it was very low last year, but we did not have any of the festivals or Rock on the River. So if Rock on the River International come back, our electric bills can go right back up to where it used to be. So as you can see, I don't think that, you know, we had to change our payroll, obviously due to the fact of what the board approved in December. There's a couple small items I put in there under planning or under other technical, professional and technical services. I placed a $20,000 placeholder in there so that we can get the stage top proposal to marketing and strategic so that we have that money set aside. It's time to start figuring out the future of that. No matter what architect we decide to go with it, that's the original proposal. That's what it's going to cost. Maintenance remained pretty flat. I think we'll come up with certain items. There's always going to be something that we have to take care of. So we kept that pretty flat. Under capital, we didn't go as much this year. We don't have as many projects yet, but there'll probably be 3 or 4 projects we'll present to the board and move forward on. There's some for sure's in there, and there's some that we're already researching. But obviously, I'll open it to Yvonne for any line item questions or concerns. But as you can see, it's pretty close to 2020 because we just don't know if 2021 is going to be a little more normal or it's another repeat of 2020. Thank you.
Okay, first off, I wanted to point out that this is over the life of the levy, as well as the first 2019 and 2020 are actuals. So those are the true figures in there. The beginning fund balance in 2021, that calculation does not calculate correctly because there's a couple of different instances that would change that. The auditor state UAN does not allow you to change your fund balances. So if you have a check that you have written in 2020, and in 2021 you need to void that check, you would have to go back and change that. So they don't allow you to change your beginning fund balances. There's also a case where if you have a purchase order that remains open from 20 to 21, and then in 21, you go back and you close that purchase order, that does not change your beginning fund balance. So it doesn't always ring true, but it does most of the time ring true. But in this particular case, it does not. So we start with a fund balance carryover in 2021 of $555,468.50. We have prior year encumbrances of a little over $50,000 for an unencumbered balance of $505,387.59. Walking down through 2021 budget, I do have 22, 3, and 4 out there as well, just for you to look at and gauge. At this point, we're really just looking at 2021. We did get an increase in the amount of taxes coming in at about 16,000. So before it was 812,000, now it's 828. The next item down is the ODR submerged land lease. We cannot change that figure. Scooting on down to, Tom's already mentioned the recreation fees for the year. In 2019, you can see they were a little over 36,000. 2020, we had 600. And in 2021, we're putting 1,000 in there. We're hoping that 22, 3, and 4 comes back up to a more normal figure. So you'll see 38,000 in those years for that. The next line item down is actually highlighted in green, and it's lots for sale. 2020, we had 5,000. 2021, I put the wrong figure in there. It have 15,000 on yours, and it should say 4,000. Not 15. So we will do a motion to amend at the end of this before we actually do the resolution for that. Charges for services, you can see that the OASIS has a increase each year of 3%. You'll see that this year we're up from 50,000 to 51.5, and that will increase each year as you go out. Then we have the CenturyLink, that stays the same, it's in a contract. This year for Black River Landing, we put 2,500. In 19, we had a little over 17,000. In 20, we had $150. So we put 2,500 this year in hopes that things get a little better. We can always increase that later if things open up. Charges for services, economic development. That's the 10,000 that's remaining coming in that we know from Ariel and Broadway for the next few years. The Kelly's Island ferry boat revenue, charges for services, that comes to the general fund from Tiffany's good work on the Kelly's Island ferry boat project. Then we have Lighthouse. They've already planned their schedule for 2021, so we put 6,000 in there for that. And scooting on down to the last item on page 1, Rocket on the River. We're hoping that he gets to go this year. He's raring to go and says he is, so we put the 10,000 back in there.
If I could jump in for 1 second, Yvonne. If you go back up to charges for services, Black River Landing, as of right now, I've told the staff not to accept any reservations for buildings and/or festivals. Not knowing what the COVID restrictions are, I don't want somebody running the building and then not following the rules and then exposing us. So I'd rather, for right now, we're going to pause it until the health department gives us some additional guidance as to what the season might look like. So we can, again, adjust that upward if things change and alleviate. Just wanted to bring that to the board.
You want to just leave it in the budget, but just not accept anything at this point?
Yeah, we'll leave it at 2,500, but I was just giving the board the reasoning why we're keeping that so low.
Okay. Then you'll see on page 2, we have nothing under transfers in or advances in, budget advances. We don't have anything there. Page 3 starts the expenditures for the general fund. As you can see, they're pretty standard. There's nothing, you can see like for other professional and technical services, river tours, we didn't do a whole lot this year because we didn't run the tour boats. So in 2021, we put 7,000, hoping that we will be able to do some. At this point, don't know. Ferry boat, the same thing. That's the Jet Express. We didn't do anything last year. We put in $1,000 as a placeholder, basically, in case we do open up and we can start. Then we have supplies and material for the shuttle boats. We still have to pay insurance. We still have to do certain things to get that boats ready, maintenance and that kind of thing. So we left that. Electric, 45,000. Again, Tom's already spoke to that with regard to hopefully we can open back up at some point. Natural gas, water, that's the same as in case we do get to open back up our concerts and things. The salaries, we did increase according to what you approved. I think we have a cushion of a little less than 1,000 in there just in case Kelsey or Lynn has to work additional hours. Then of course, all the benefits are calculated with that. So we skipped down to travel and training. Travel this year literally was $16.62. So we did put that back up for this year. Hopefully things will open up and we can start again. And so we left that for economic development as well. Telephone is actually telephone and internet. And then the next 3 items are promotional, one's regular and one's economic development, and then the other small one that Tom uses for smaller items. Page 4, go to rents and leases. The second item down is ODNR. You can't change that one. Army Corps of Engineers, can't change that amount. We did have legal, accounting and legal for economic development. And this year, because we will need to have a single audit as well as a federal audit, because we had more than $750,000 in federal funds. So we will have an audit this year. We did put some in audit of economic development because the federal single audit is a direct result of economic development of the Kelly's Island Ferryboat project. And we also put it in next year for the audit because again, we will get more than $750,000 next year. So we will need to do another audit, single audit and a single federal audit.
Those are high because that's the standard price. We lucked out last year because of COVID. They didn't really do the full visit, so the fee was far less. I kind of anticipate it might be closer to that 2020 number, but just in case they come in and work in our offices, they will charge more. So we had to budget on worst case scenario on that one.
Well, and then also this past year, it was agreed upon procedures. So it wasn't a full-fledged audit, even though honestly, I couldn't tell much difference. But they said it has to be a full audit. So we'll just go with that. UAN fees, and then that's pretty standard. Tax collection fees, again, that's standard. The engineering fees, we didn't do any this year, but we put 5,000 in for this year and going out. Planning consultant, again, we didn't do anything the last 2 years, but just in case. Then we have planning consultant for economic development, and we do have 25 in there. Tom, no, that's the next line. I'm sorry. Yeah, so 25 in there this year. Then we have other professional and technical services. That's where was typical $2,500 going out. So we did add the $100,000 in there for the stage project. Then we have insurance. We have pretty much standard. Dues and fees, it's pretty standard. Dues and fees, economic development, that's pretty standard. Office supplies, and that is down a huge number from when Mr. Novak was here. And honestly, we don't do a lot of printing. We do a lot of online digital stuff. We did do repair and maintenance, building and land, that's property management, 175,000 this year. Goose Dog, we put 1,500 in there. Then scrolling down, machinery, equipment and furniture, we have 5,000. We try to roll a new computer each year. Somebody gets one. And then I believe we were going to upgrade some stuff in the boardroom this year. So that did increase for this year, but then it goes back to 2,500. Capital outlay this year, we have 100,000 in there for now. If we do a bigger project, we can always adjust the budget at that point. So then our total expenses in the general fund is 1,149,905.25.
Yvonne,
Yes.
this is Neil. I have a question for you on those dues and fees. Economic development jumped from 3,200 up to 6,000. What's the reason for that?
Actually, this year we didn't do a lot of we didn't go to a lot of meetings. We didn't go to a lot of events. They were canceled due to COVID. So we just reduced them this year. But typically it should be the 6,000.
Okay, no problem. I'm just curious. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Okay, so next we go down to page 6, which that is special revenue, which that is Marine Patrol. We have the beginning fund balance is 193.52. We have an outstanding prior year purchase order for 110, which leaves us an unencumbered balance of $83.53. We have state funds coming in at 35,000, and we have, you'll see the list of expenditures and how it is. And then we have expenditures going out at $35,083.52. So we didn't even budget the match because we intend on using the match from the in-kind from the city officer and anything that we get from there as our in-kind match. And we hope that's always covered it before, and it should be able to cover it again this year. The next item is the special revenue paddling enhancement grant, and it continues over on page 7. So we have the federal funds coming in for that at $32,175. And the expenditure going out under capital was $35,175, or excuse me, $32,175. So it'll end up being 0 at the end. And the last page is page 8, and that is capital projects, which is the Kelly's Island ferry boat project. And it does start with 4 cents. That was a rounding issue, and it'll come out in the end. But we moved what we didn't get in this year or what we didn't pay this year in 2020 to 2021. So we have the federal restricted money coming in at $3,300,750.55. And the capital contributions, which that's from Kelly's Island Ferry Boat, and it's in a escrow account for $2,659,677.12. And then you'll see the expenditures to that. That's the balance of the engineering services, planning, well, there's no more planning, dues and fees. That figure will come from Kelly's Island as an expenditure over to the general fund for charges for services for Tiffany's work. And then we have the capital outlay. for a total expenditure of $5,960,427.71. Does anybody have any questions or concerns or requests to change things?
Kelly's Island is the reason we had to have this emergency meeting, and I appreciate the board's flexibility in joining us this evening, because we have to get the budget over to the county, which takes a while, and then get everything back. And then we have about a $2.5 million bill that has to get paid to the shipyard. So that's why we could not wait till the February meeting. So again, my appreciation for the board meeting on such short notice.
Can we have a motion to take this to the full board with the amendment of the 4,000 for the sale of lot?
Committee members, are there any final questions, comments, concerns about the budget before we take the matter to a motion?
Nope.
Okay. Seeing none, I would ask for a motion to approve and send this to the full board for consideration.
Including the amendment.
Including the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion has been made and properly seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Is there anything else, Tom or Yvonne?
No, I'm good.
No, just that, you know, we could come back to the board if things improve or if things change the other way. So I appreciate us getting this budget moving. I appreciate Matt coming in ahead of time. We think it's a good budget and we'll stick to it.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right, we are adjourned at 5:25.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Tom, you want to roll right into the special meeting?
National Constraint Master Cylinder. Won't know anything till morning.
Tom,
Yes.
you want to go ahead and roll right into the next
Are you
meeting?
still active, Kelsey, on the live stream?
Yes, so that
Perfect.
has just continued.
Okay, great. Yep, you can start it, Brad.
All right, board members would like to
Great,
welcome you to the Lorraine
Tom?
Port and Finance Authority Board of Directors Special Meeting on Monday, January 25th, 2021 at 5:30 PM. Yvonne, can I get a roll call, please?
Steve Bancey,
Aye. Here.
Matt Kuzner,
Here.
Brad Mullins,
Here.
Brad Mullins,
Here.
Carl Nielsen,
Here.
Neil Summers,
Here.
John Viard,
Here.
Jeff Zellers,
Here.
Al Zagantz,
Here.
8 here.
Very good. We have a report of officers. Tom, you want to go ahead and lead us into the 2020 annual financial report?
Yes, quick housekeeping. Congratulations to Neil on his 4-year renewal on the board. And as you're aware, Mr. Davila has been replaced by Mr. Scott, Vassie Scott. Had a good phone conversation with Mr. Scott. He had a board obligation. He's leaving a different board of directors, so he could not make it this evening, but we'll get him sworn in prior to the February meeting. And then I would open the floor to Yvonne if she wants to do the yearly report then.
Okay, the report that I sent to you is the exact same one that I sent to the auditor state, which is what they require. But the first 2 pages is for the special revenue that breaks it down. And since we only have one special revenue, I would like to just move over those 2 pages because it'll be more clear on page 6. The second set of 2 are for the capital projects. And again, we only have one capital project, which is Kelly's Island. So I'd like to move past that page. And then the next item is for the custodial funds, which we do not have any. So I'd like to actually begin on page, on the one that says combined statement of receipts, disbursements, changes in fund balances, cash basis for all government fund types. So those are the 2, which is page 6 and 7 is what I'd like to go through. That is the agency as a whole in one snapshot. So it's kind of like the real, just one snapshot. We have down the side of the left, we have cash receipts, cash disbursements, and then we have like the transfers in, out, and then the fund cash balances at the bottom. And in the columns, you have the general fund, the special revenue, which that represents the Marine Patrol. You have the debt service, which we don't have anything in that. And then capital projects, which that's the Kelly's Island ferry boat project. And then we have the permanent, and then all the way over to the right is the totals column. So you have under property taxes, we have $711,695. Under other intergovernmental, you have $142,892. And under like charges for services, we have $199,933. And I want to stop right there because I want you to see that if you want to drill down on any of these numbers, there a few pages back, there is a more detailed report that is comparison for budget and actual receipts. And then behind that is the same thing for disbursements. So if you see the charges for services here, and then you go down here for charges for services, it starts at the numbers as 1,590. And then you'll see those are other charges for services. And then behind that gives each entity. So if you add up all those charges for services, you'll end up coming to the 199,933. So that's just indicative of this whole report. These 2 pages gives it to you as a one snapshot, but if you want to drill down, that information is there on another page. It's pretty self-explanatory. You got your total cash receipts for the general fund is $1,060,537. The total expenditures, cash disbursements, I should say, is $1,057,463. And then there were transfers and advances with the fund to cash balance of January of $564,061, and the fund cash balance at the end of December is $555,648, or excuse me, $468. In the general fund, you're going to see in the cash receipts, $35,000. In the expenditures under special revenue is $52,325, which brings the cash balance for January 1 is $5,852, and at the end of December it was $194. Capital projects, which is the Kelly's Island revenue, is $2,345,035, and expenditures was $2,359,155. We had cash balance January 1, $14,120. Cash balance December 31st, 0. And then from here, if you, like I said, you've got the several pages that drill down if you want to find something specific. Does anybody have anything they want to look at as far as drilling down on any one of these numbers? Okay, then if you move to past all of those pages, and I wish they were numbered directly, but they are not. We have the one page for reconciliation of interfund transfers. You can see from the general fund to Marine Patrol, the transfer in and out, and they should equal 0 all the way to the end, and they do. So we have no outstanding interfund transactions at the end of the year, which is the way you're supposed to have it. The next report is a report that is also from UAN, but it's exported. It again gives everything in just a few rows for the entire agency. It's just a very small sheet, just overall you can take a look at to see where we're at. It gives the budgeted receipts and the actual receipts and the variances, as well as the expenditures for the appropriations, what was actually budgeted and the variances there. And then anything outstanding at the encumbrances at the end of the year, which would be accounting, which would be outstanding purchase orders, and then payroll, that's going to be the OPERS that still needed to be paid in January, that was paid actually today. The next, excuse me, the next is our notes to the financial statement. A lot of this is prescribed, but then there's a lot that has to input into it. It just reports first is how we came into being a public body, how we present our accounting, the basis of our accounting, our appropriations, how we handle those, estimated resources, encumbrances, and then it talks about accumulative leave, and then it talks about our fund balances, whether they're non-spending, restricted, so on and so forth. Then we have the budgetary activity, which that is taken directly from those figures for 2020. Then they have to list the deposits in the bank, which we do. And our funds are collateralized by the OPCS, which is Ohio Pool Collateral System, and that is prescribed by the state. Then we have property taxes, how those are collected and how we get them. And then the interfund balances, there were no outstanding at the end of the year. And the transfers, then we have risk management, which it talks about the different types of insurances that we have to protect the agency. Then it talks about the benefit pensions, which is OPERS, post-employment, OPERS. Debt, we do not have any outstanding debt. However, we do have what they call conduit debt, which is the bonds. And that's what was holding up the close, as I have to get the balance of the outstanding bonds for each of the bonds that we have done for, Altenheim, Fairfax, Ohio Guidestone, and Horizon. So I got those figures and was able to put that in, but those are all non-recourse. They cannot come back on us in any way, shape, or form. The contingent liability, actually Mike wrote that part because any potential liability, but of course, there was the one guy with the slip and fall, but we don't think that'll be anything that would affect our fund balances. Then we do have the fund balances there. I did add committed into that spreadsheet. And there's a note that follows that is the board through resolution 2020-26 decided to put aside funds for economic development and you have the prescribed how to come to that figure, which is when we sell land or we have charges for services through economic development or Kelly's Island, that is the revenue, and the expenditures was, if it's a grant match, loan funds, accounting and legal fees, planning services, technical services. So that balance carryover, if you will, is for economic development is $149,600, $6.04. And that's something that'll just have to be kept in the notes. There's no way to like set it aside in our accounting system. The changes in accounting principles is because the GASB changed the way that they do custodial funds. They were agency funds before, and now they want them. Now they're custodial funds. So that had to be a note in there. We didn't have anything in there, so there was no changes in our financials. They did want to note in there with COVID. We did put that in there, and then subsequent events talks about a coastal management grant that we put in for and might possibly get. We don't know at this point. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns, corrections for the notes or the financials?
Board members, any questions?
No,
Did somebody say something? I'm sorry.
no, I have no questions.
Okay. So I guess we need a motion to approve the 2020 annual financial report. Can I get a motion?
Make
So
the
moved.
motion.
I'm sorry,
I make the motion that we accept it as presented.
Mr. Zagatz made the motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Matt. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. 2021 permanent budget. Tom, Yvonne?
Obviously the committee met, everyone was present. Recommendation was to send to the board for passage as amended. So at the appropriate time, if whoever makes the motion would make the amendment that the sale of lots / real estate be amended from $15,000 down to $4,000. That would keep us in order.
So we have to make a motion to approve that?
You'd make a motion to approve the resolution, actually make a motion to amend, just take a voice vote on that, and then make a motion to pass resolution 2021.
Okay, can we make a motion to amend the resolution for the sale of property from 15,000 down to 4,000? Can I get a motion?
Well, shouldn't Matt be making that recommendation to us since he was the chair of the committee?
I'm not sure if that's protocol. Tom, do you know?
I mean, he can, I mean, there's no, I mean, you run the meeting now. I mean, Matt can make the motion if he wants to.
I mean, I agree with Brad. I'm not entirely sure it would make a difference if either I made the motion or Brad did. I mean,
Okay,
but I
so-
would make the motion and second it if need be.
Tom, so go ahead, Matt. Do you want to make the motion then? We'll just clear this up.
Sure, so moved.
And then I'll second it. How's that?
It's fine. I just asked for
That's all right.
the question.
That makes sense.
So all in favor? Oh, go ahead. Do you have to say it, Matt? All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay. Now going into the 2021 permanent budget resolution. Is there any questions or comments before we go forward? Yvonne, would you like to read the resolution?
As I find it.
I can read it if necessary.
Thank you.
Sure. So it would be a resolution making permanent budget appropriations of the Lorraine Port Authority for calendar year 2021.
So board members, we have before you 2021 permanent budget resolution number 2021-2.
Yes.
Yvonne?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I motion to approve the resolution.
By Mr. Summers, second.
I'll second it, Brad.
By Mr. Zellers. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Steve Bancek,
Aye.
Matt Kuzner,
Aye.
Brad Mullins,
Aye.
Carl Nielsen,
Aye.
Neil Summers,
Aye.
John Viard,
Aye.
Jeff Zellers,
Aye.
Al Zagant,
Yes.
8.
Resolution passed. Thank you very much, board members. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'm sorry, that was Mr. Bancek.
Yep.
Second
I'll second it.
by Mr. Viard. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Meeting adjourned at 5:44 PM. Board members, thank you for your time tonight. I know it came out of your busy day. Everybody have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank
you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great